Hi, good morning. I'm Mary Amy, and this is Living in the Light, and I'm all about shifting away darkness and guiding you to your truest potential and cracking open that beautiful glowing light that's in your heart that you've had since birth. All the light and the beauty within you has been there since birth. So we're cracking that open and we're guiding you to your destiny. So, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Today is September 20th. It's Tuesday morning. When you woke up, did you have a good intention? What was your intention? What were your first thoughts? If you could see them in a sentence before you, what were you thinking? What are you thinking? Are you stepping out of the matrix, the linear world, this physical reality right here? And you're going to be guided to your destiny. Eye on the prize. What is your prize? So today we're going to cover topics like men in black, thought waves, worldly power. Of course, I'll be doing a visualization. I'll be touching on the subject of angels, and we will be working on our intuitive clair senses. So, how are you today? I'm trying to calm myself down because I feel like sometimes my thoughts are racing and I can't even speak as quickly as I'm thinking. I don't know if that happens to you. And maybe that's a glitch in my system. You know, we hear about this glitch. What is a glitch? A glitch is a temporary malfunction in a piece of machinery, and it is an irregularity. And so maybe you're experiencing glitches because, as you know, there's been lots of change. There's been more light brought on the earth. People are awakening from their slumber, from their amnesia of what they're starting to remember. Their light codes are coming online. All of them is coming online. All of their DNA, their personality, who they were since they were incarnated on this new earth, Gaia. Are you experiencing glitches in your system? Because I'm hearing there's glitches in the matrix, the linear world, the prison that we've been living in, the place of mind control. And that's why I'm going to touch on the topic of men in black. And who are the men in black? Well, the men in black, you know, those movies, we've seen those films, and that was all about realizing that you're not, that you're in a simulation, things aren't what they seem. It's an illusion. And so, men in black, is it a real thing? Well, in the film, it's an omnious and a very omen-like creation, these men in black, because, you know, they're dark, they're all dressed in black, they really aren't sharing much, they're very mysterious. And so men in black are adult men dressed in black. There's more than one. They're anonymous, and they are dark clothed men who supposedly visit people in the story, in the film, visit people who have been reporting of UFO experiences or abductions or encounters. And they're there to prevent the rest of the world from knowing about it. So, Men in Black, it's a quasi government. Is it a government agent, the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, paramilitary? Are they here to harass and scare and threaten? Well, the reason I'm bringing up Men in Black is because I've had some psychic attacks recently, and I've had them in the past, and it's always these men in black. And they bring with them this energy that's very, very kind of evil, and it's kind of scary. And I speak of our dreams, and I'm bringing this up because as we leave the matrix, and in the story of Men in Black, in the film, they are trying to keep the culture, the systems all in place, and anyone who's disrupting the systems, they go to. And so I'm wondering if I'm this being of light, and I know I've heard of this, you know, Mr. Smith's Men in Black that have threatened and harassed other beings? Am I being threatening and harassed? I'm not, they're not speaking to me, but they sure is showing up in my dreams. And so I'm just saying this to you because you might experience this, and you might experience getting thoughts in your brain that aren't yours. And we've spoken about brainwashing and subliminal messages that we receive, and maybe you receive them because there's those out there who are trying to thrust conformity on us. And you might see them in films or movies or TV or the media or news. And so these men in black that visit. So I mentioned to you these dreams that I've had. And then more recently, they were always men. But then over the weekend, I had a woman visit me, and she was all in black. And she pretty much had this kind of satanic garb on. She was dressed very satanically. And I'm seeing that a lot in the media. So I'm like, is that influencing my dreams, or is this a psychic attack while I'm sleeping? Because that is possible. I mean, I've spoken about that since the 1960s. The government worked on coming into people's dream state. So it's, is this the art of deception? Are these building cyber magicians? Now, I know in the past that they've associated Men in Black and Mr. Smiths with UFOs. And maybe they're here to erase our memories, counter our thoughts, and seize our energy. I'm not quite sure. I've heard other YouTubers, and they've spoken about this, about what's it called? It's called not harnessing our energy. It's called harvesting our energy. So is our energy being harvested while we're sleeping? Is that why we're being visited by Men in Black? And so these Men in Black, they don't say much. Now, this is my sleeping state. They don't say much, but their energy is very evil. And you can sense that immediately. And so are they an arm of maybe demons or evil, maybe dark energy, maybe Satan, Lucifer? I don't know. It might be a last grasp to hold on to their place here in our physical domain. Now, we are experiencing a lot of glitches. I mentioned glitches. Anyone who's joining me, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and then others can find us. And so these glitches, these irregularities, are there irregularities in the matrix, and that's what's causing psychic attacks. I had a friend tell me even this morning, she said, Mary, is it possible that someone's placing thoughts in my mind? And how is it possible I'm thinking of something and then I see it on my social media or my feed? And I said, I don't know. Is that technology that we aren't even aware of? I know we have advanced technology. Now, yesterday we mentioned Tesla, Nikola Tesla, and he had invented free energy as well as thousands of other inventions. The death beam ray, or the death beam ray. It was a gun that shot energy that could paralyze you, could harm you. So if that was created way back when, decades and decades ago, what have they invented since? So these Men in Black that are associated with the UFOs, that's kind of folklore. It's kind of, is that just a story? Is that sci-fi? What is that exactly? I don't know. I mean, I'm just mentioning it. I'm throwing it out there. So this theory of Men in Black was from the 1947. Harold Dahl said that he had seen a few UFOs in the sky. And then he was on a boat with his puppy dog. And then one of the UFOs crashed and it killed his puppy dog and threatened his son. These Men in Black came off this UFO and threatened him. And then they intimidated him and said, don't ever tell anyone about this story. So are these omens? Are these an impression that we're supposed to receive to kind of threaten and scare us? Because I haven't been receiving any information vocally. I've just been receiving information energetically, like be wary. So a Mr. Smith is from that other movie, The Matrix, and he is the antagonist, right? And he's also anonymous. And it's sort of a sinister foreboding energy that they give off, and it's threatening to you because they fear that you're going to ruin their system, this system in the Matrix. You've been living in a dream world, they say, but this reality is a prison. So I don't know. Let's consider this. Let's just be aware. And that's why I'm sharing it with you, because it's now been, I guess, in the last few weeks, I've had a few dreams like this. Now, the reason why I actually give this any kind of attention is because I read and heard about someone who said that they actually encountered a Men in Black, where they came to their house, they came into their house, and they saw them actually out in their yard first. And it was almost like a robotic energy, but it was possessed this very scary, threatening way about them. And so this Men in Black, this man in black, didn't speak, but it was very scary. Just came in and circled the yard, came into the house, and then left. And this man just left his home out of fear. And so just be aware that should you have fear, is what I'm asking, what I'm saying to you. I would say no. If you can wrap love and light around it, it will leave. And that's what I did. I did it the second night that it happened to me, and then it didn't come back. And now I don't know where this is. It's coming from another source. Like I say, that we can receive an impression from another source. So this source is coming into my sleeping state. Okay, so that moves on to the idea of thought waves. So what are thought waves? Well, they are neural oscillation, and they are impulses in your brain, and they're considered brain waves. And so what are they? They're arrhythmic repetition patterns of neural activity in the central of the nervous system. And so individuals' behaviors and thoughts are communicated between neurons within our brains. And they are synchronized electrical pulses from masses of neurons communicating with each other. So our brain waves occur at various frequency. And so I wanted to bring this up because I find it's important, and we are talking about our thought processes, our mental. We're talking about expanding room in our brain so that we can bring more light and more hope and more love, and also to have more room. So because sometimes we have all these racing thoughts or looping thoughts that come into our brain, and we can't get rid of them. So it's kind of a good idea to take note of our thought waves. Now, I've mentioned that we are intuitive beings. Whether or not you realize what your intuitive skill set is yet, the fact that you're here and you're listening to me means that you are attracted to this, or you're interested in this, which is why I'm bringing this up. Our thoughts are very powerful, and our thoughts are energy, and we can create our reality with our thoughts. And that's why I find it extremely important to what your first thought of the day. Like I say, if it's in a sentence before you, what exactly is your thought? Is it something like, oh, my day is going to be really bad, I'm not looking forward to it? Are you saying like, I'm super excited? Are you saying simply, I'm just tired right now and I need more sleep? But let's try to go on the end of, in the direction of positive thoughts. And so what are your thoughts right at this very moment? Please write in the chat, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're joining us. This is Living in the Light, and we're covering subjects like Men in Black, thought waves, worldly power, and your intuitive skill set. So our thought waves. So we've spoken that we have charged impulses related to our feelings and our emotions, and that's how we receive an impression. That's how we have thought transference, because the sender, what you're receiving from an outside source, this knowing, you have this knowing inside of you, and you're receiving from this outside source information. Now, maybe it's someone sending you the information intentionally. Maybe it's a friend thinking about you. And since it is a charged impulse, their feeling, their thought is charged, you're receiving it. So you make a phone call. Hey, how are you? Or you text them or you message them because they came into your mind. They came into your mental thoughts. They came into your spirit and your heart. And that's why we are focusing on our intuitive skill set, because all of it matters. We have skills. We're very advanced. We are fragile beings. We have these systems that all have to be working in the same direction. And that's why we speak of being clear, having your thoughts, words, and actions have alignment. And when we have alignment, we are very able to access our destiny. However, if we are carrying around like a piece of baggage, an attachment of old thoughts. Now, maybe the thoughts are simply like, what you were told. Someone communicated with you growing up a certain way of doing things. And so maybe that's your thoughts. Those aren't yours. Those are yours based on someone else's thinking. Maybe you had a very critical parent or teacher or employer or friend or relative that constantly was feeding you this information. Those were their thoughts. Be sure that everything that you're taking up space in your mind are your thoughts. So let's try to release and let go of old belief systems, old thought attachments that we have, so that we can reach our destiny as quickly as possible in this moment. And we say, what is this moment? Well, here I am. I'm holding this mug. I don't want to have looping thoughts. I don't want to have old thought attachments. I want to let go of everything before this moment, before coming online with you and bringing forward everything that I want. So what are your desires and your wishes? Do you see them? Is your eye on the prize? I know we've spoken about being the dark horse, the horse that wins the race. You are the least likely candidate because you're a rebel like I am. You're from a pack of rebels, not the rebels that cause havoc, the rebels that realize there's another reality. So if you conform, if your thoughts are conforming to those around you, so you're receiving information, because we all have all these frequencies coming at us all the time. It's very difficult these days to get away from it with technology, with Wi-Fi, with satellites, with these towers, with all of those out there who are in this conform. They're conforming. And so what is conforming? It's the process of making up information of thoughts, and they are coming into our systems. We want to have a free flow. We want to be positive. And so there's 4 different types of thought waves. There's the delta waves, the theta waves, the alpha waves, the gamma waves. And so what thoughts do you have? What kind of waves do you have? So the theta waves are the waves during sleep and meditation. They're very calming, and they're helping you to process information and have positivity. That's the waves that we want to access. We want to have that calming, like we speak of having stillness and quiet and peace within us, and clearing away all of our shadow characteristics. Now, we all have a vibration and a frequency. And so that's how we bring into our lives opportunities, new people's places and things by giving off a higher frequency, a higher vibration. And how do you get a higher vibration? Well, you're going to get a higher vibration by living in love. And I know it sounds corny and like, oh yeah, really? Well, why don't you try it? Try it. And so how do you access that? How do you access living in love and having a higher vibration? By forgiveness, by forgiving yourself and others, by accepting yourself. Like I say, accept yourself for everything, all the naughty stuff. Everything that you've done that you regret, you must accept within you, because then you clear it away and then you're clear to reach your destiny. And all of you will come online. Now, as you awaken, you come out of this slumber and you're like, oh, well, wow, 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4 in this matrix, in this physical realm. I'm kind of thinking that I don't know if I agree with that anymore. And maybe there's a possibility there's another reality out there. So what is that other reality? Well, the other realities are higher consciousness. The other reality is realizing that you have free will and you don't have to conform. You can't reach your destiny, all the dreams and wishes that you have in your heart. You can't reach your destiny if you're conforming, because that's someone else's path. How can we get to our dreams and our wishes and our desires on someone else's path? Anyone who's joining us, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Write in the chat. Tell me where you're coming from. Who's here with us today? So our thought waves, which there's different types, so they operate on different hertz frequencies. So the delta waves is less than 4 hertz. The theta waves, which is the very calm, the very peaceful, the very tranquil meditation and free flowing and positivity waves, is between 4 and 8 hertz. The alpha waves, these are our brain waves, between 8 and 12 hertz. And then the fastest for problem solving is the gamma waves. And so that's 35 to 100 hertz, and that's quick. And a lot of the time we are functioning on gamma waves. And so we're moving very fast. And that's might be why it's hard to process quickly. How can you process that quickly and move that fast and still have this fragile system, all these systems within our being, within our vessel, all kind of happening at the same time? It takes a lot out of us physically, doesn't it, when we are problem solving and everything is moving really quickly? I guess it takes practice, right? So everything that we think, okay, matters, because it's energy and it's creating our reality. That's why I say, if you poo-poo yourself, and let's say you say, oh, well, my dream is, when we speak of our 5 humongous goals, let's say you say, well, I'm dreaming that I'm going to sail a boat across the Caribbean. And then you say, I can't do that. That's ridiculous. Well, now for 2 weeks you can't, because now your thoughts and your words together have created that's not going to happen as your destiny. So we must believe our truths. We must believe what's in our heart and our dreams, because we are the only person who knows. We are the only being that knows what we want. No one else has my dreams. I could talk to 1,000 million people and no one else would want what I want, because they aren't me. They don't look like me. They don't have my personality. They don't have my skill set. They weren't raised in the same family. So that's why I kind of stay away from conformity, because it's not going to take you to your destiny. Now, should you share with other people? Well, maybe you can share first by writing it down, maybe sharing if the person is like-minded. But if you're looking for drama and debate, right? If you're looking for someone, if you say, well, that person never really agrees with me, that being over there, when I tell my friend Sally what I want to do, all she does is tell me I can't, or come on, or debates it. Well, guess what? That's going to stop you for a while too, for another 2 weeks. So it's best if we don't share what our dreams and desires are until we have something concrete in this physical world, because people won't take you seriously. If you say you want to be a novelist, you don't tell anyone till you start writing, till you feel secure with it, till you have confidence. We must have self-confidence. So our emotions have their own vibrational frequency or wave frequency, and our thoughts are energy, and they're signals that the energy is transmitting a thought and has mass. So it raises our vibration by going into a place of love, of going into a place of unconditional love, by setting our boundaries 12 inches from our bodies. No one can come into our space unless we physically, mentally, spiritually give permission. We are sacred beings of light. We do not have to agree. We do not have to conform. We have what's called free will. Now, if you have discernment and everyone else is doing something, and then you say, well, let me take a look at that, and okay, I want to do it. You really, in your heart, it resonates with you. It's positive. It makes you feel good. Okay. But if you feel like a child and you're like, uh-oh, I don't like how this makes me feel, then don't do it. You can opt out. Opt out. So if we have high vibrational thoughts, we're going to raise our consciousness. We're going to have more peace within ourselves, more acceptance, a more willingness to be open. And like I said, we're going to be like an owl. You know, owls can see in the dark. We are going to feel like we're in the dark. Do you feel like you're in the dark? Do you feel like at times you don't know what's going to happen? And you know what? That's how it's going to be. Life is an adventure. You have to trust. You have to have trust that your decision making is going to take you down the road of wherever you want to go in a place of safety. Now, if you're having trouble and you're feeling like, wow, I don't feel confident. I'm having a rough patch. Things feel very difficult. I'm a little lost and confused. In fact, I might even be sad. You want to go to some mantras like, I am strong, I am brave, I'm courageous, I'm safe, I am powerful. Create your own. Maybe it's the fact that we have so much going on right now in the universe, in this galaxy. These energies are coming on, and more of us are awakening. And there's a lot of, it's a very, very, very strong, defined line between good and evil. And there are those that are worshiping evil and darkness and hate and death and killing and murder and crimes versus divine energies and love and hope and joy. And so you might come into a place of a debate. You might be in a situation that you can't avoid it. And so what do? Well, you don't want to debate because that really isn't solving anything. You might just want to send that individual love because they're hurt. Anyone that's promoting pain in others or themselves or worshiping Satan or evil is a very hurt individual, and they are weak. And so you want to just send them love and hope and not injure them anymore. But do not engage, because it's only going to create more hostility, because that's what they want. They want to menace. They want to threaten. So we want to release that and let that go, and let them go on their way. Because this very dark world that we've lived in, this matrix, this linear world of systems, the history, the medical, the government, the education, the programming, the mind control, it's all been someone else's plan. And it's all been a way of dividing us because everyone steps on each other when they compete. You know, it's all this idea of me, me, me. I want. Give me more stuff. I want 100 of these. I want, you know, I need more of these, and every pair has to be more expensive. And that's what's important. That's a distraction from ourselves. We want to tune into ourselves. We want to reach a higher self. It's all about tuning into ourselves. We can't find happiness out here with stuff because we just keep buying it. We're never going to be happy from stuff. It's just a thing. We have to be happy within ourselves. This is all we can control. We can't control what's going on out there. So we are realizing that this divide is creating some kind of power shift. And this power shift is going to demand this worldly power. That's what it seems like we are about to be made to make a choice. Now, I believe that from what I've seen in the angelic realm, the spiritual realm, that evil is left and they're just grappling on. It's like they're hanging off a cliff. You know, you ever see the cat hanging off the cliff or the window and it's hanging? That's what evil is doing right now. It's hanging on for dear life. And so what is happening? We are being thrust into all of this dark stuff. You know, people are dressing very ritualistic, and some of these organizations, it's coming through. It's very kind of creepy. It looks like Halloween costumes because they're grappling like the cat on the side of the window to try to hang on. And so they're pushing instead of retreating because they have no choice. This is their last leg, you know, and they've lost already. They're going to have to leave and they're going to get dumped into the dumpster. So worldly power is total, massive ownership of everyone. It's materialist success. It's powerful enough to affect the entire world by influence or actions, physical life. It's an organization, an institution, and it possesses power to influence events. And so has this already happened? Well, I think in some degrees it has, because I believe that some of these, or I'm understanding that some of our history hasn't really been printed in the history books to us. And so can there be a world power? Like, in other words, an ownership of every single country, every single being on this earth? Can there be worldly power? Has it already tried? Well, some of these wars that we've encountered in our history have tried to take over the world, haven't they? And so is there and will there be a country that has enough economic and political strength to possess all of us and have wealth? Now, there's three types of power. There's hard power, soft power, smart power. Now, what are the most powerful nations? China, France, Russia, the UK, the US, Germany, Japan, India. Some of them are very strong militarily. Some are very strong economically. Some are very strong with nuclear weapons. Now, the world population right now is 7.97, almost 8 billion people. So that's a lot of power, isn't it? And so is there a world power that's able to take over and act in a particular way with direct influence on all of us, of all of our behavior? And what do they have to gain? Well, they would gain us basically by our physical strength. Maybe it would be enslavement. Maybe it would be whatever their purpose is, whatever their mission is. Now, is that is that a good versus evil? So this control, this possession, this authority, would you agree to follow is what I'm wondering. Who would agree to follow? Because right now, as I look out into the world, in certain areas, there are those that are actually protesting against authority. There are those that are conforming to authority. Like, wow, everyone has this phone, so I'm going to get this phone. Or everyone has these pair of glasses. Or everyone is doing whatever it is in their education or their names or their identity. So are you going to conform? It's a question that I'm asking, to be aware. Be aware. Now, do I think that this is going to be long lasting? No, I don't. I think it's going to come to a place, you either agree or deny with authority, and then it's over. I don't believe that they're going to take over worldly power. I'm just bringing this up as a possibility to be aware, because we have to just have discernment with our choices. When you pull out of the driveway, do you go right or left? So are you going to have compliance? Is your behavior going to be socially conforming? So just be aware, because I'm from a pack of rebels. Not the rebels that create havoc, the rebels that realize that there's another reality. So moving on, let's speak of our intuitive abilities, and let's speak of ESP. And, that's why I kind of made one of my topics today, these men in black, because I spoke of psychic attacks. I spoke of reading this book that's 60 years old. And knowing that there was government, I think it's called, they had government projects for mind control, for programming, for surveillance, for ESP. And so I know that there was, back 60 years ago, 60 years is a long time, they had this psychic attacks while people are sleeping. And so but you can do it in a way that is not harmful. You can do it with a friend. You can take a friend's picture, know when they're sleeping, and then say their name out loud, looking at their picture. And because you're sending an impression to them, a thought transference, and it has feeling and emotion, and it's a charged impulse, they will receive it when they're sleeping. And you can say, Johnny or Jane, hi, Johnny or Jane, and their name, wake up at 1 a.m. and eat a sandwich, or look outside. And if you ask them the next day, if you do this for 15 minutes while they're sleeping, they will wake up at 1 a.m. and eat something or look outside. It's possible. It's telepathy. So be aware. So this is why we're talking about these subjects, because it can be done in a harmful way. So like I say, as much light as there is, and as much goodness as there is in the entire infinite universe, there's as much evil. I didn't believe in evil. I didn't believe in the devil or Satan. I didn't believe in any of that until I started clearing space, going into people's homes and working on their space, and finding out that evil remains in the footprint of, sometimes the evil can remain in the footprint of a home. And so stuff can be attached. Negativity, something very dark, can be attached to a person, place, or thing. There is what's called possession. People can become possessed. However, that's artificial. If someone's possessed, it can be taken off. Just like a space can be cleared. Now, I cleared a home, and guess what? It didn't leave. It wouldn't leave. And I tried to, and I worked very hard, except that was in the footprint of the place. It was like in the ground, in the earth, and I couldn't take it away. So be aware that this stuff exists. So our intuition, we spoke of yesterday, this sense of knowing from an outside source, can be our intuitive clair abilities, and our intuition is within us. So we have a hunch, a knowing of something. So we're going to kind of get into that a little bit today. You can condition yourself to be intuitive, and you can sense events before they happen. And you can put yourself in a position someplace to meet up with someone through your intuitive abilities. It's like it can be like you can create the premonition yourself. You can synchronize yourself to meet someone when there's no chance of meeting them. Hey, Tommy, how are you? Kisses and hugs to you. How's it going? Hi, everybody. How are you? And so, how can you condition yourself to meet someone? Well, we speak of visualization. We speak of cracking open your third eye. And how can we crack open our third eye? Well, we can do things like spending time in nature. We can do that by listening to certain sound frequencies. If you go onto YouTube or other platforms, you can find that you can listen to different hertz frequencies. There's healing frequencies. There's ones to repair your DNA. And they're usually above like 400 hertz. And so there's 528 hertz, which is to bring love and restore your healing within you. There's 639, which strengthens you. There's 852, which awakens your intuition. So 852 hertz, if you listen to that, it will help you to bring more of your intuitive skill set, your clairsenses online. So how can we do this? We can have patience. So let's say we want to meet someone by a chance occurrence. How are we going to do that? Well, it might be an opportunity, someone that you want to meet to have an opportunity for business or work, or someone that you just want to kind of try it out and see if it's possible. So you're going to combine a visualization with your skill set, with your sensing, with your knowing, and you're going to allow the universe to guide you. So you're not going to be all stressed about it. This is an exercise you might want to do. You're not going to be all stressed. You're going to be more patient, and you're going to let out a breath. And so you're going to imagine meeting up with the person in your mind, because you probably already have an idea. Like I always say, if I can visualize it in my mind, then I can create it in this physical reality. So that's what you're going to do. If you can visualize yourself meeting up with the person, you're going to combine that with receiving information about how that's going to happen. And so you want to obviously place yourself in a position of where you might run into them. And so you're going to mentally imagine, you're going to have patience and relaxation. You're not going to push. There's a fine line between being aware and pushing, forceful. You don't want to push. You want to be an observer. You want to be aware. You're breaking down a lot of messages and signs. So the suggestion of doing this is going to bring information into your being if you're open. Like we've been working on all our clairsenses, we're opening up. We're opening up our mind. We're expanding our consciousness. We're opening up our ability to hear farther distances to other realms. We're opening up our empathy, right? Because we are tuning into ourselves. We have love for ourselves. And so we're opening up our feelings and our senses and allowing information from another source to come through, because everything has a vibration. So when you come up with a thought, and another thought might come in or will come in from another source to booster that information if you're open. You might be working on your clairvoyance, your clear sense of being a clairvoyant by a knowing, by an ability to tune into someone and what their information is, and it's relaying into your mind. They're the sender and you're the receiver without even realizing. That's why when we go into a crowded space, and sometimes we have pain that comes to us. So maybe we get a little chest pain or a little headache, or maybe we just feel a little different. It's because our body is absorbing other people's moods, their physical ailments, and we can shut that down. Like I say, we can have a dial that we tune down, or we can imagine light around ourselves to protect ourselves from other energies. So in the case of what I'm explaining, this exercise about having a chance meeting with someone, you can receive information by just having the thought, like maybe there's someone you want to meet up with, or maybe a friend you want to try, like, oh, and sometimes we realize that if we don't want to meet up with someone and then we do, it's because we put so much energy on not doing it. Right? Do you realize that? You know, it's something like, well, you say, oh, well, I don't want to run into that person, but then you do. It's because you've put so much energy and not into running into them. If you don't want to run into them, then you don't think about not running into them. You let it go. You don't focus on not running into them because you're giving it energy. It's a charged impulse. It's almost like you're giving them like a sign, like, hello, come over to me. If you're thinking, I don't want to run into them. So we're going to allow the universe to guide us. Now, can we have invading thoughts? Absolutely. We've spoken about that. We've spoken about mind control. We've spoken about thought waves and brainwashing. Of course we can have, our mind can be invaded. Maybe our mind is invaded while we're sleeping. Maybe our mind is invaded when we go out to the supermarket or we meet up with a friend. Because if we are not in control and aware of our thoughts, we can't really distinguish which is our thoughts and which is someone else's. That's why it's very imperative that you work on your intuitive abilities so that you can break things down. Like I said, what is this message? Now, if you're receiving someone else's thoughts, are they coming through? Are you aware that they're coming from another source? Do they feel like they're your thoughts? Because there is definitely a difference. We must become aware. So there is something that's been going on for a long time. It's surveillance, and it's shadowing, and it's electronic observation. Now, people can be surveilled, have surveillance if they are wanted by, an organization, and they might be under surveillance where someone is tapping their phone or tapping their computer or watching them. You might be under surveillance that way. It's usually a law enforcement technique. It's a close observation, and it's often in order to catch someone. But there can be surveillance with our thoughts, whether we realize it or not. So it's like a think tank, a very strong, powerful think tank. And so we can be guided to conform through a think tank, or a brainwashing, or a invading our mind. I had a friend ask me, Mary, can someone else put thoughts into my mind? Today, she asked me. And I said, yeah. I said, I had it happen to me like a year ago when I was realizing and I was awakened out of the matrix. I thought, and I have to tell you, I thought like it was a very evil thoughts. It was very dark. It was like, do bad things. I said, these aren't my thoughts. It's in my mind, but these aren't my thoughts. And it was almost like, they use the term reptilian, these reptilian extraterrestrials or Draco extraterrestrials that have taken over the elite and their leaders and Whatever it is, it's dark thoughts. So is there like a think tank, a thought tank that is sending us thought waves? Is that possible? Does anyone want to share what they think in the chat and tell me where you're from? So I'm saying all this just to be aware. I know it's like, oh, that's sci-fi. Most of the stuff on sci-fi is real stuff. It's just that it was inverted. So it was everything that they didn't want us to know to be true. They made it like it was a fantasy. And so let's break down exactly what this means. So what does this mean for you? It might be that there's a source that's sending you brainwaves, thoughts to try to create different beliefs within you, break down your belief system. You know, we spoke about brainwashing. And so how are you broken down? You're broken down. They break down yourself. They introduce possible salvation. That's 2. And 3, then they rebuild you the way they want you to. Now, it's interesting. Yesterday, I watched a film that this was going on in China, communist China. And they would send you to re-education camp because they didn't like what your thoughts were and what you were believing. And it seemed like, to me, that seemed like sci-fi. That seemed like a movie. But it really happened. And there was prisoners that didn't believe, and that's why they were prisoners. And then they harvest them. I mean, it was just really dark. But I said, wow, this stuff can happen. So it's like coercive persuasion. And it's a technique to manipulate human thought. And so it's against your desire and against your will. And so I wanted to bring this up because I want you to be aware. Now that the matrix is leaving, it's going, it's in the dumpster, there's going to be the last kitty cat on the window sill that's hanging on. So the last bit of evil is going to hang on and try to take you down. And maybe they're going to try to take you down by creating collective consciousness that's negative and dark. It's not going to just come through on the television or the media, the news. It might come through in your own thoughts and tell you to do naughty things. So be aware. Be aware of all your intuitive abilities. You're a very advanced being of light. You're a multidimensional being of light. So our clairvoyance, our clairestinence, our clairaudience, our clairempathy. What have you been mastering? What have you been working on? You know, we've been working on our ball of light to bring light into this physical reality. And we've worked on light, bringing light in through doing a visualization, bringing within our system, cracking open our third eye, right? And expanding our consciousness. And so we say, if you want to tune in, how do you tune into someone? Let me remind you. You're going to tune into somebody or something by letting out a breath, releasing old thoughts before this moment, old belief systems, okay? And then you're going to make contact with whatever it is. You're going to enter in. Now, I enter in when I read someone. I enter in their heart. I just automatically go to their heart. Everyone's going to be different. It's going to be personal preference. And like I said, you're going to master one of these clairsenses. One of them is strong in you. Now, we all have the ability to... Oh, there's Elsa. She's sleeping right there. We all have the ability to receive and send telepathic thoughts, to have telepathy. And so when we do this, it's because every single thought is a charged impulse. Now, we spoke about the Zener cards way back when. They'd say, oh, you can do ESP if you can I'm holding up a card. If you can see what's on the other side, if you know what's on the other side, then you have extrasensory perception. And most of the time, you can't do this. Why? There's nothing about this that's a feeling or an emotion. It's not a charged impulse. So this is very difficult. That's a trick. That doesn't work. However, if you have a friend at a specific time send you information to you and you're receiving it at that exact time, so 7:30 p.m. Monday night, Jane is sending me information. So she's reciting out loud. You will receive it. You are practicing. You are working on your telepathic skill set. We didn't go to telepathy school. We went to school that they fed us information and then we spit it out, and they never asked us what we thought. They said no. And if you're difficult, we'll feed you some medication. And that's what we knew. We were compressed. So now we're opening up ourselves to any possibility, all of our wishes and desires, and our mind and our eyes on the prize. We're looking at what we want, our destiny, and we're bringing it forward. So, have you tuned into your senses? So the first was you let out. You let out a breath. You calm your spirit, because you have to have patience when you do this. Now, maybe you're holding someone's hand, and you make contact with them. You're going to tune into them. You're making a concentrated contact with a person, place, or thing. And then you will receive impressions. So the impressions might come through in a symbol, a sign, a voice, an entity. But you will receive something if you're open. Everyone has these senses. Our intuition can guide us. When you're in a situation of difficulty, like an emergency, do you think your mind can think about it? No, your intuition takes over. We want to let go of any kind of mental processing when we're tuning in. It's not by your thoughts. It's by an outside source. It's all of these gifts that you have. You're not processing information like thinking. You're not thinking. It's just coming through to you. It's your third eye activating. Okay, so are you a channel? Are you channeling information? Are you going to receive information from another source? Maybe it's the Virgin Mary. Maybe it's an extraterrestrial. Maybe it's someone who passed. Are you a medium channeling information from like Uncle Jacob or your grandpa? It's entirely up to you. It's what you're drawn to. Your abilities will come through. Lately, my clairaudience, I'm hearing from another source. It's like I have a thought and then someone's laying information on top of it, and I'm hearing it from another source. And then sometimes there's two sources. So it's really, really becoming stronger within me. And I'm allowing it before I shut it down. It's about accepting, have a willingness to accept all of your gifts. And so I believe in you. I want good things for you. And, I guess I'm just here to help heal. And so as we heal ourselves, right, we accept ourselves, we're healing ourselves, because this matrix that we've been living in was a tough world. It was a tough world. It wasn't easy from the time we were born. And a lot of individuals, a lot of beings have had a really sufferable, horrible, horrific time. And so we have to send love to them. And if someone's hurting, we have to be more understanding and give them a pass. I'm not saying let them hurt you, but I'm saying be aware that you don't know what they encountered. Okay, so we can move on now to doing a bowl of light, and then I will do a visualization. And, today we covered Men in Black, psychic attacks, or in-person attacks, thought waves, and worldly power. Is there going to be a world power that takes over? I don't believe so. I believe that if everyone is discerning and realizing where that will take them, I believe that enough people will veto that and say no thank you, and we will not have a world power. So let's do our ball of light. And as you can tell, I'm kind of like moving off and on right now. I'm a little bit tired today. You might have noticed that. And I'm trying to catch up. And I think I'm encountering so much energy coming at me that it's just hard for me. Like I'm struggling a little bit right now. So I'm sorry. I'm doing my very, very best here. So here we are, and we're going to create a ball of light together because we're going to bring light into this physical reality, and we're going to have more concentration. It's helping us with our clear senses. It's helping us bring more light into our physical reality and have more concentration and focus. Okay, so we're rubbing our hands together, and we should take them apart. We should feel some vibration. Now, if you took any medication, like I say, it might not be that strong. And I know that because when I took a pain reliever, because I had like a really bad headache, it was very dense in my brain, I took one and I tried to do the ball of light and it didn't work. So, okay, so we're expanding. And so we're feeling the energy, this ball of light. We're creating energy. We can feel it on our palms. And sometimes it feels a little bit stronger than other times. If you want to cup your hands, fine. If it doesn't work for you, then just try it this way. And so this ball of light, oh, I just saw purple. So this ball of light asks to tune into your third eye. So what are you seeing in your third eye? So let's first bring light here. So we're going to consciously imagine this ball of light is bringing light here into this physical reality. And it's funny because the more that I do things like this, the more mystical experiences I have. And I shared with you that if you want to bring more mystical experiences and you want to crack open and activate your third eye, your mind's eye, you want to go into nature and you want to imagine or go into nature and really pay attention to nature, like focus on the raindrops on leaves or water washing up onto a beach or wind affecting the branches of a tree. Okay. And then memorize all of those sensations that you have, like like maybe you need to close your eyes. Maybe you just can, this will help open your third eye. You just imagine in your brain whatever that is, that piece of nature. And then in another moment when you're indoors, say, I'm going to remember that time that I saw the raindrops on the leaves. And then all of a sudden it starts happening without even trying. And you're cracking open more light in your heart. Okay, so in my third eye right now, this whole time I was talking, I was actually bringing light into my space, into my reality. So I just saw, funny enough, up here, for some reason, I saw a wave. So maybe just the power of suggestion. So now let me see if I can tune into some clairaudience. Let's hear, okay, so I'm going to channel right now. What am I hearing? Mary. Wait, let me do this. I'm not used to doing this, so I'm going to try doing this. I'm going to see if this makes me uncomfortable to channel, to be honest with you, I realize. Mary, what are you doing? So someone just said, what are you doing? Well, I'm bringing light into this space because when I channel, I almost want to respond with whoever's asking me a question. I just saw volcano and heard volcano. That's interesting. So what is that? Is that a premonition? So I saw a wave and I saw a volcano, but the wave was up here, which means, is that a tsunami? So is this going to be a cataclysmic event coming? They say end of times or all these really I don't know, very negative earthly environmental problems going to occur? I don't think so. I think we're going to have the solar flash. All right. So the solar flash, I had a dream about that the other day, and I saw looking up to the sky, and I thought it was true. It was real. I saw white light coming from the sun. Okay, so do I see anything else? Let's see if I tune into any other sounds coming from another source. I heard wagon, whatever that means. So that might be in my third eye. Let's see. Birds. Peace. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for peace. I'm not looking for any kind of upsetting events. All right, so did you find anything or see anything in your third eye, or what kind of experiences did you have? Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm so curious. Now I see snow. Wow, today a lot of new stuff. That's change. I've changed my energetic pattern. It's tiring me out. Okay, everyone, we'll put your hands together. I'm going to quickly do a visualization. I have to make a trip somewhere today, so I'm not staying on long. I have appointments today. So a visualization, blessings. We will create vivid mental images in the mind's eye, bringing us hope, prosperity, and love. And we are going to create a streaming light. So let's realize connecting to your mind, body, spirit will bring to divine light and shed darkness in yourself and unblock your true purpose and passions. Your streaming visualization begins now. So please find a quiet space, sit or lay down comfortably. Let's release any old thought attachments, anything before this moment. We're in this moment right now. We want to be in this moment together, bringing our destiny forward. Like I say, place it in my hands. So please find a quiet space, sit or lay down, and we're going to breathe inhale and exhale deeply 3 times together on a 12 count. So let's do that. Okay, so I hope you've relaxed your body and your mind and your spirit of any stress or tension. And so now I'd like you to become aware of a stream of light that's encircling your entire body. So this band of light is a foot wide and it's encircling you, and it is letting off sparks of light that is touching your skin, and it's entering your pores of your skin. And this spinning band of light that's gleaming and glistening, and it's letting off sparks. It's circling you, and it's encircling you counterclockwise, and it's spinning around you. And as it spins around you, you can feel more peace, more pure, more comfortable, more relaxation. And you're little by little letting go of any tension within you. And you're breathing out anything that's bothering you, old thoughts. And now it's spinning clockwise, and it's spinning 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So this band of light is expanding, and it's moving closer and closer to you. And now it's covering you. So it's touching your bones, your flesh, your organs, and every cell in your body. And you're accepting this light, and it's offering you happiness and love, and your spirit is awakened. And you're realizing that you have more peace within you, and your heart gains some strength. Now the past is gone, and you feel power within you. Your old thoughts have diminished. The past mindsets are gone, and now you're surrendering, and you have a feeling of peace and joy and grace. And so you're in this moment of peace in your heart. And you're going to remember this moment. So this glistening band of light that's entered you has now brought you to a place of an awakening. And your spirit knows, and you're connecting to your destiny. And you're going to make a wish with this light within you. It's going to be something that you want, you desire, and will bring you hope. And you will feel content. So stay in this moment, remember this wish, and leave it in your mind and your heart and your spirit. And so now you're going to, when I get to 1, I'm going to count down from 3. You'll open your eyes. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so, all of these ideas and exercises that I bring forward are in action to help you reach your destiny, and they're to be healing, because we together are forming more light on this earth. We are awaking from our slumber. And so during this time, like I said earlier, you will have some kind of awakening, and that will affect your physical, your mental, your spiritual, and maybe it's going to take you off your path for a minute. Maybe you're going to be a little bit more tired because you're embracing new ideas and concepts, and you are realizing that everything that you thought to be true is not necessarily true. And so it's going to take something out of you. And so maybe you're going to eat a little bit more or less, sleep a little bit more or less. You might have bursts of energy. You might be tired. You might have different dream states. You might not remember any of your dreams one night, and then the next night you remember everything. That's why I say to have a dream journal and write it down. And you might begin to embrace more of yourself and understand more of yourself and realize how lovely and special you are, because you are authentic. There's no one else like you. And so that's why I want to remind you about your 3 characteristics that make you an authentic being. Now, these are, when you're in a tough time, you want to go to these 3 characteristics because you want to stand on them, because they will make you feel stronger. And you will realize, if you have discernment about your decisions and you realize something isn't right for you and you want to turn it away, and it's very difficult because you're being kind of like forced to do something, you need to go to your 3 characteristics that make you special, because sometimes we lose our confidence and we don't realize that we're worthy, and we are worthy beings of light. So maybe it's that you're an amazing friend, or you are a great artist. It might be a physical attribute that you have, but just come up with 3 so that you can tune into those when you're having a rough patch. So before I go, I just want to remind you to have good intentions and realize how wonderful you are and lovable you are. And I'm wishing good things for you. And again, I apologize. Today I was a little bit more like, I've kind of lost my luster today. And I remind you of angels. Angels always help me. So this to me is like good and evil. And I say that there's angels coming from the heavens to earth to protect humanity, and they're messengers. And we can ask for angels to come into our physical realm, our physical existence here. And we can ask for them to bring us strength, maybe give us messages and guide us and lift us up and take us through a difficult situation. They're warriors of God. They come from the heavens to earth to protect humanity. They're immortal. They're beings of light. They're non-gender. And in fine arts, we see them with wings and halos. And so, right now, this is kind of like a very defined line on this horizon, isn't it? With good and evil. I don't believe that we're still suffering like we were. I believe that, like I said, evil is hanging on like that cat in that picture that's hanging on the windowsill, just grappling and hanging on for dear life. Evil is hoping that it will extinguish any of those leaving the matrix. So now that you've left the matrix and here you are joining us in this physical reality that we're creating light, we're bringing light, we're wishing good things for each other, we're embracing each other no matter who we are, what we have. Like I say, you're worthy. It doesn't matter what you have or what you look like or what job you have. You're worthy as is. You were born and incarnated on this new earth, Gaia, and you had everything in your heart and your spirit, but you were just crushed. And now you're awakening. So you're going to have symptoms of this awakening. And maybe they're going to come through mentally. Maybe your thought processes are going to change. Maybe you'll laugh a little bit more or cry a little bit more because you're trying to find clarity within you of who you are. And so that's why I say, like, let's be a pack of rebels. Let's not conform, because if we conform, we really aren't discovering exactly who we are. And it's so much more interesting, isn't it? Aren't novels made out of rebels, and novels are made out of those who are individuals? And so when you have your own thoughts and opinions, you want to express them. And I say to express your thoughts and opinions. And maybe that's by writing them down. You don't feel like you feel comfortable sharing them with others beings because you don't have anyone you can confide in that is a like-minded. But the more you accept yourself and you accept your 5 humongous goals, the more you will find like-minded people. It's interesting. I have people come to me now, and I meet people through social media or through the work that what I'm doing right now, just doing these videos. And it's like I've known them forever because we have the same mindset. Because like attracts like. Like I say, if you go to a party, you go out into a crowd, and it doesn't even have to be a crowd. You can be on an empty street. You can be in an empty location. See what you attract. And are they low vibrational? Are they dark? Are they like, oh, everything's awful? Because what's that saying about you? Now, they could be attracted to you because you're dark as well. You have low vibrational and you're like spending a lot of time in drama and negativity and like sadness and anger and meanness. Or they might be attracted to you if they're lower vibrational because they want light. They need balance, because dark and light need balance. I mean, we all have dark and light within ourselves, right? I mean, we all have, they say, our demons within us, but we want to accept all of us. So go into a location and just stand by yourself and see what you attract. And maybe you need to work more on loving yourself and accepting yourself, because you are a beautiful being of light. And so I'm going to go now, and I'm wishing good things for you. I'll be back again tomorrow at 11. And I don't post what my topics are, because when I do that, I get glitches in my system. For some reason, it affects my Wi-Fi. And so I do it in the early morning. So just be aware. And I'm spinning light, and I'm wishing good things for you. So let's have willingness to be open, self-confidence, and realize that there's not going to be any proof of our intuitive skill set or evidence. You have to trust. All right, I'm spinning light, and you're in the middle, and you're making a wish, something that you want. Okay? And everyone have a wonderful day. Be well. Bye.